You've probably seen these bikes and the bikes at the front of the ship in some of my other shots going around the ship. And I read in the information in the cabin that these are available. They're included in the price of the cruise. You just have to let them know that you want to take one. And so I think I'm going to take a bike out and go bike riding around Speyer. Right here is where our river ship docked, which is very close to the city center of Speyer. And about a 5-mile bike ride from there was this chain of lakes, which are actually a leftover sand quarry that's now filled with water. Whew, burning some calories. I came from down there, and I'm pretty sure that this is the way I have to go, according to the map. Let's hope I make it. On my Ms Viva Tiara bicycle. Once I finally got to the lake and put my feet in that cold, clear water, I was so happy I decided to do this instead of walk around the city. It was a great way to spend the afternoon on this really hot day. This is exactly what I need right now. However, I have to tell you this, while editing this video together right now, I just Google searched the lake to get some more information on it, and I read that just a few days before I was there, they pulled a dead body out of the lake. Yuck! Oh well, I think it's probably better I didn't know that before I went, because then I wouldn't have gone and had such a great day. I am done at the beach. Or the lake, and that was just what I needed. I know some people feel like obligated to go into the city and see like cultural things. I know from listening to the cruise director and from doing a little bit of research this afternoon that there is a very big famous cathedral in Speyer. And I think a lot of people would have felt, or do feel, and I guess I kind of felt obligated to see that as well. But I just thought about how hot it is and how much walking I've been doing. And I just thought, you know what? I would just much rather go swimming in a nice cold lake and cool off for a little bit. And
that's what I did.
By the way, I'm filming this with my iPhone, and I feel like the sensor in my iPhone has gotten somehow weaker. Like, look at how washed out the background is compared to me. I turn it this way and almost drop my bicycle. I guess that's better. Anyways, I'm kind of blocking the bike path here, so let me hop back on my Hot Wheels and make it back to the ship. Back on board Ms Viva, and I just took off my hat. That's what this line is here, and I'm about to say the first negative thing that I've said about this experience so far, and that is, came back to the ship, I left my bike parked up at the top of the jetty because that's where it was when I picked it up, and I didn't want to try to navigate it down here and then bring it to the lobby and not know what to do with it, so I just left it there. I locked it up, brought the key in to reception, and when the doors opened for me to go into the ship, it smelled so bad. Now, I've been on many ships before. I've experienced when they're having a little bit of, I don't know if it's like a sewage backup problem or something like that. You know, it's difficult when they have a closed system like this, and then over many levels, and then if there's something happens, somebody's toilet gets clogged or something, then some of the gases can kind of come back up. I've experienced that before. I'm used to it, but I've never smelled something like this. It's It's really, really bad. It smells like a mix of tuna fish, poop, and pee.
Poop and pee.
That's the best way I can describe it. And I think the only reason that I could stand being in the lobby for the maybe 2 minutes that I had a discussion about the bicycle with the woman behind reception is because I grew up in South St. Paul, Minnesota, which was the home of the largest stockyards at the time, the largest place where they held thousands and thousands of animals preparing for the slaughter to be turned into hot dogs and chili. And
it smelled there.
I grew up with a lot of stink, and so I think my nose like went into old school mode and was like, oh, we know this, stop, pause. But it's awful, and I can even smell it up here, and it's not the river because I didn't smell it the whole time I was riding my bike around the river. It's the ship. It's bad, and I hope that they fix it. And I really wanted to go down to my cabin and take a shower. It's 7:20, and you know, I've been out in the sun all day. You should see my shirt. I have like these salty marks on it. I put on the shirt that I was wearing yesterday actually because I knew I was just gonna be all sweaty anyways. And the whole like, I've got, I don't know if you can see it, but you know when you sweat and it dries and you get like these salty marks, the whole shirt. And look at my hat. Sweat. So I wanted to go back in and have a nice relaxing shower before dinner, but I cannot go inside that ship. No. So I guess I will be forced to sit outside here as the sun is going down, enjoying the light breeze and drink a beer. Oh, come on, Ms. Viva, you are dropping the ball now. I'm standing here in the bar for just a couple minutes and there's nobody here. Is there a bell I need to ring or? That's too bad. It's the late night cocktail cam, the part of the video where I tell you about all the things that I couldn't show you. And the first thing I want to clear up is about the stink. Like I mentioned earlier, when I came into the ship after getting back with my bike, it just stunk so bad. And I was worried about going down to my cabin here where I can't open any windows, and I was worried about going to dinner, and I went up to the deck to have a beer because I thought, okay, well, I'll just stay out here in the basically fresh air. But then the guy who brought the beer up to me reminded me that on that night, so tonight, he reminded me that tonight dinner stopped at 8:30, and that's something that's a little bit weird on this cruise. It's the dinner times seem to be different each night, but I think that has to do with where we are and when we're departing and things like that, so maybe it does make sense. But so I did have to come down here to the cabin and take a shower, even though I was worried about the smell. And the interesting thing was the smell, that terrible gaseous tuna-y smell, was just in like the middle of the ship. So down here in the cabin, it wasn't a problem at all, and in the restaurant it also was not a problem. Dinner again was pretty good. I had a grilled pear salad with blue cheese dressing, which was just an interesting mix of flavors. I enjoyed it. I could have had more of it. And my main course was vegetable lasagna, and I mean, not only the presentation was good, but just like the ingredients, the vegetables were cut so thin inside, and it was surrounded by some kind of like tomato sauce, some kind of marinara, pomodoro sauce, something like that. And the tomato pieces that were in there were obviously not from a can. They were cut, I would assume, by hand. And dessert was tiramisu, and it was all, I just keep thinking, for the price that I paid compared to other cruise lines I've been on, this has been a really excellent experience. And if I was gonna say a negative, like a minor negative point about it, on the menu at night so far, there's only been there's been a very limited amount of vegetarian options or meat-free options. There's been one starter, there hasn't been a soup, and then there's been a main course, and then of course the desserts. So if you're used to cruising with, like, I don't know, NCL, Royal Caribbean, those cruise lines where if you go to the main dining room at night, there are several, or at least two meat-free options for the starters and for the soups and things like that. It hasn't been like this on this cruise, but at the same time, I also overheard somebody talking and saying that there's only 48 passengers on this ship. And the weird thing for me is I remember reading on the website that it said that if there are less than 80 passengers, they reserve the right to cancel the cruise. So this is just a little more than half of kind of an unofficial minimum number of passengers, but yet we're still here. We're still cruising. It's almost 1 a.m. and if you're asking yourself, what did I do all night until now? Dinner couldn't have taken this long. Well, after dinner, I went and sat up on the top deck, and one of the women who's sitting in the main dining room next to me, she came up there with me, and we just chatted and chatted and chatted and watched the world go by. And I have to say, this stretch of the Rhine River is nowhere as interesting as basically all of the Donau River is. Donau is the German word. The English word is Danube. The Danube River that I did my last river cruise on, that was way more interesting to sit on the top deck and watch things go by. Where we've been going by, it's been very flat, not a lot of mountains, not a lot of little villages, and a lot of like power plants and water clarification facilities. So if you're into just hanging out on the deck, especially at night, the Danube route is way more interesting than this one, at least this one so far. And yeah, after last call, basically, I answered some YouTube comments and posted something on Instagram and answered Instagram DMs and things like that. So that's what I did from dinner until now. And then I have started my upload or my transfer of the files in my phone to the computer, and when I'm done with that, I will transfer the files from this camera into the computer. And I'm just trying to tell you, that's why it's almost 1 a.m. and I'm still up, even though it's been at least a good hour, if not an hour and a half, since anything has been happening here on the ship. River cruising is not
all-night party kind of experience, just so you know. And tomorrow morning I booked the excursion for Strasbourg, which is on the border of Germany and France. It's a fascinating town. I've been there many years ago with my brother when I was living in Stuttgart, so I'm looking forward to seeing it again and getting a little bit of a tour this time, and I will show you some of what I saw on the tour as well. But I can't take you on the whole tour with me because these videos aren't supposed to be like a substitution for actually going to the places and seeing them. It's just supposed to be about what I saw and what I thought of it, and a little bit of information to help you decide if you need to see it or not. So you're gonna see just a little bit of it in the next video, and I hope you come back for that video before this video ends. Please press that thumbs up button if you haven't done it yet. That helps with these videos, helps me continue to do what I do here on YouTube, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video, which will be about my day in Strasbourg. Au revoir!